Also, Sea of Thieves is the best exclusive.
That's a hot take. I'm going to disagree with you there.
What do you think it is?
Uncharted?
Wrong.
Uncharted 4 to be specific?
Wrong. Sea of Thieves.
God of War?
Wrong. Sea of Thieves.
Ratchet and Clank?
Wrong. Sea of Thieves.
Halo?
Wrong. Sea of Thieves.
Forza?
Wrong. Sea of Thieves. Alrighty, we are back and we are recording.
We are.
We have several things to talk about before we get to the main meat of things.
Yes.
We have had a conversation with one another, done some spiritual introspection, and decided that the draft is coming up this Thursday.
It starts Thursday, so.
Yeah, it starts Thursday. So this is the last episode that will go up before the draft.
Yes.
Starting next week, we'll begin season 2 of BS Inc.
Yeah, as a benchmarker.
And then in the coming weeks, years, months, and days, we will begin a new season every year around
At the draft. Before the draft. The day after the draft. However you want to play it.
I mean, I don't know if the draft always falls on a Thursday.
I feel like it should.
I don't know.
Like from an NFL perspective, it makes sense to have it the same Thursday through Sunday every year.
That's wild. I don't know.
Draft.
So every year on the draft, we'll begin a new season.
Yeah.
This will come with some added benefits that we have not yet entirely discussed, so we're not going to discuss them here.
Sure.
But, yeah. Anyways, where do you want to start the meat of our adventure?
The NFL.
The NFL. Okay,
because the draft is coming.
Speaking of the draft, the Panthers claim that they still haven't made a choice on who the number 1 overall is going to be.
I feel like they're losing a lot of time.
I feel like they're lying.
You think they're lying?
Yes.
You think they 100% know who?
I feel like they definitely know who, and they're just saying that they don't know who in order to, not show their hand.
Do you think the person who they're drafting knows?
I would say he has an idea. I guarantee you Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud have both been contacted by the Panthers.
I thought they didn't go to the Ohio game.
Nope, that was Houston.
It was Houston? The other person who we thought was going to get the number 1 pick?
Yeah. So I would say that both of them have been contacted by the Panthers.
Yeah.
And they're like, we know it's one of us. Because everyone and their brother knows it's one of them.
Is it Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud?
I think it's Bryce Young.
I could see it being either way. I'm not going to lie to you.
I think it's Bryce Young.
Okay. I mean, fair enough.
Plot twist, it's Anthony Richardson.
I would lose my mind. If it's not a quarterback...
Plot twist.
It's a defensive player.
It's an offensive lineman.
Ah.
So that's number 1. Number 2, Damar Hamlin has plans on returning to the NFL.
I understand why.
Yeah.
It makes sense. How much deliberation do you think that took?
I don't...
Do you think he thought about it? Or he's like, oh yeah, it was just a one-time, it's whatever. What are the odds it's gonna happen again?
Yeah, pretty much. That would be my attitude on it.
It's like
that's a 1 in a billion chance of happening. This is something that has
never happened in the NFL. There's no way it's gonna happen again.
If it happens to me again,
it was meant to be.
I deserve to die.
Yeah, fair enough.
I feel like he
definitely doesn't have to play again. He could just be fine.
Yeah,
the way he is.
Be more famous than some people who have played entire careers.
Yeah.
He's probably the most famous defensive player the Bills have ever had.
Probably.
I can't think of another.
I was about to say, I don't know one.
I can't think of another, so that means probably yes.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, I want your input on this. Kyle Trask believes that he will be given a chance to compete with Baker Mayfield in Tampa.
So here's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah.
That's definitely not it.
That Brady is going to unretire?
Again? Plot twist? No. I think that they want Trask to be their man, but I don't think they think he's ready. I'm sure it's one of those things where he's not going to compete for the number 1 spot, because there's no way you get, Matt Stafford?
Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield. They're the same person in my brain. There's no way you get Baker Mayfield and then put somebody else and he's the backup, in my mind. What I think is going to happen is they're both going to be the quarterback, and it's just going to switch out. So he has a transition period where he's still playing underneath a really good quarterback or a historically good quarterback, If you want to put it that way.
Is Baker Mayfield really a historic?
He's not a bad quarterback.
He was okay in Cleveland.
He's not a bad quarterback, is my point.
Okay.
So he plays underneath somebody who's still decent, but he also gets his time to shine. Because
you don't think they draft a quarterback next year? If I was the Bucs,
Tampa?
Yeah. If I was the Bucs, I would sandbag the fuck out of this year and go for Caleb Williams.
That might be what they're doing. They might be like, all right, Trask, you guys got to team together on this, and if you can't make it work, you're both gone.
Listen, either win it all for us or lose it all for us. We don't care, just one end of the spectrum.
We either need an 0-17 or a 17-0.
Correct.
That's it.
Those are the two options. That's all I have for the NFL, unless you have other general...
I'm excited for the draft. That's about it. The first day of the draft.
Do you want to go through the top 10?
No. I feel like I think the most important ones are going to be 1, 2, and 3. And I think it's just the order in which they go.
Okay. Who do you think's 3? Because 3 is Cardinals.
I think they get a quarterback. I don't think they're going to stick it out with Kyler Murray.
Really?
Yeah, he's not good.
Okay. So do you think they take Will Levis, Anthony Richardson? That's upsetting.
I mean,
I would like to see him go to a team that I have a chance in hell of rooting for. The Cardinals
instead of
that.
The Cardinals?
Yeah.
Well,
which is really upsetting because none of the teams that I have a chance in hell of rooting for need a quarterback.
Correct.
Where do you want to go next?
Let's go to the WWE.
All right. First things first. Shinsuke Nakamura is back.
He is.
What were your thoughts on his return? Because you don't know who he is.
No. I love, like, okay. I've heard the name, I'm sure. Like, it sounds familiar.
Yeah.
But aside from that, nothing.
Okay.
However, whenever you come out and the whole arena just knows the song, the hits, everything, like, more than most other songs. Like, the whole place just knows what's up.
Yeah.
And he comes out, it's perfect. And, of course, they're not going to have him lose his match.
Correct.
So he just whoops. Who was it? So one of the people that is there to take a beating.
That's a good question. Who did he beat?
What? One
Elias?
of the generic. I don't know. One of the generic guys is there just to take a beating from the good people.
It might have been Elias.
Like I said. Anyway. I liked watching it.
Okay.
It was very fun.
The biggest example of that whole everybody in the crowd knows your song and everything was Sammy in Montreal, by the way. When they cut his music and the crowd kept singing it.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Second thing here. I want to talk about the real stuff, and then I have 3 hypotheticals for you.
Okay. We'll talk about the real stuff.
So the real stuff. There are a lot of people involved in the Bloodline story right now.
It's like half of the roster.
On Raw, you had the Judgment Day, 3 of the Judgment Day members.
Everyone but Rhea.
The LWO excluding Zelina Vega.
Yeah.
Everybody in the Bloodline excluding Roman. And
Sammy,
KO and
Riddle,
Sammy
and
and Riddle.
KO.
All in the ring, all at the same time.
Yeah.
And it was just a fuck-tonery of people.
It was. It was a big mismatch.
Which would make sense if there was a match that could accommodate all
that
of
many
those
people.
But unless they're going to hold a fucking
Royal Rumble of just those people, that would be fun too.
Unless they're...
However, I feel like it would be very unfair for the LWO.
Yeah, I don't know why there are so many people involved.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it was cool for the night, but it would have been cool if there hadn't been a fucking brawl-for-all at the end.
Mm-hmm. If there was structure to it?
Yeah.
Okay.
The third thing... Have you seen the things going around that say Seth needs a title, give Seth a title, this, that, the other thing?
No.
Okay, well, that's going around.
Are you asking if I agree or disagree?
Sure.
I mean, he's had plenty of titles in the past, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's had the big ones, right? Is he a Grand Slam?
Probably. He might not have had the U.S. Championship.
I mean, he definitely did.
Are you sure?
He was the person who held it whenever I started watching, and then Theory took it from him.
Correct. He might not have had the Intercontinental Championship, though.
That might be the one. I mean, I don't really think he needs... I like his character of just... Oh, pause. His character is alright now, but I don't think he needs a title. Like, I don't think he's dying for it.
Okay. I agree, by the way, he has held the Intercontinental Championship. So, yes, he is a Grand Slam champion. Everybody's wrong that he needs a title.
I don't think he does.
He is doing just fine.
Doing whatever he needs to do.
Doing as he's doing.
Yeah.
Would I like to see him
with the Intercontinental
with a title? Yes. However, there are no titles that he can realistically challenge for right now.
Without retracing storylines?
Yeah.
Like, he can, like, go back to Theory and be like, I want the championship back, but that would just...
Been there, done that.
Be stupid.
Already done the Roman thing.
It would definitely need to be Roman loses the titles to somebody, and he takes one of those titles.
We'll get there in a minute.
In a new storyline.
We'll get there in a minute.
Okay.
And there's no reason he would challenge Gunther.
No, there's...
And he's not in a tag team.
Yeah.
So...
He doesn't even have a friend.
Sounds like you. Anyways. And then the final thing I have on the real stuff is that Dakota Kai is fucking shit.
Yeah.
She had a match against Bianca.
Sure. Was this Friday?
Nope, Monday. Bianca Belair, I think. Yeah, she had a match against Bianca.
I don't recall.
And she looked fucking great. So, in my ideal world, they split up Damage Control, send Io Sky back to Japan or wherever the fuck she was before she came to WWE.
Yeah.
Put Bayley back in NXT and give Dakota Kai a soloist push.
Against Rhea or Bianca?
I don't give a flying fuck.
Okay.
Just give Dakota Kai a soloist push.
10-4.
Now, I'm going to need, do you want Bloodline? Do you want Cody Rhodes? Or do you want my secret Moscatool?
Let's do the Bloodline first.
Okay, Bloodline first. This is how the Bloodline falls apart.
In your mind?
In my mind. This is fantasy booking that has a small chance of happening.
Every time we do this, you say 20 things and one of them is correct.
That's correct.
And the other 19 are just not it.
Anyways, so you have some cracks showing in the Bloodline, if you will.
Clearly.
And on Monday, Jay even said, like, Roman didn't tell us anything about this deal. What the hell?
Solo was the only person who knew.
Yeah.
And Paul.
Yeah. So, you have this going, right? Roman does something else without the Usos knowing.
He's doing a lot of things without the Usos knowing.
And the Usos are like, I'm fed up, I'm done with this shit.
Yeah.
You get to Money in the Bank.
Sure.
Cody enters Money in the Bank.
Okay.
Solo enters Money in the Bank and is told specifically by Roman, you have one job, and it's to make sure that Cody doesn't win Money in the Bank.
So he can't challenge for the title again?
I don't give a fuck who wins as long as it's not Cody.
Okay. And obviously not Solo.
Yeah. So, you have a spot in the match where everybody is lying around the ring, Cody's on the ladder. Solo tears him off the ladder.
Okay, Money in the Bank is a ladder match.
Yes.
Okay. So how many people is it normally?
6 to 8.
Okay.
Solo tears him off the ladder, throws him out of the ring, and Solo has this moment where he's alone in the ring with a ladder, and he looks up at the Money in the Bank briefcase and has this moment like, I could win Money in the Bank right now. Looks up, he's like on the second rung, whatever. It took too long. Cody gets back in the ring, throws Solo off, climbs up and wins Money in the Bank. Roman comes out either later that night or the next night on Raw, whatever. Roman comes out and starts beating the ever-loving dog shit out of Solo for failing him.
Got you.
And that's the final straw for Jimmy and Jay, to where they turn on Roman because they can't handle seeing him beat their brother up.
Got you.
This all culminates where Jay and Roman have a match for the title at either SummerSlam or next year's Mania. Cody comes down, cashes in his Money in the Bank, makes it a triple threat match.
Okay.
So it's Jay versus Roman versus Cody for the titles. Cody has him in the crossroads like he did at Mania. Has this moment where he looks at Jay and is like, I'm about to steal this guy's moment. Like, should I do this? Hits the crossroads anyway, pins Roman, wins the titles, and the night ends with Jay raising Cody's arm.
That's your ideal world?
No. This next one's my ideal world.
So that was the Bloodline and Cody?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
So you have Bloodline, Cody, and Moscatool.
Yes.
Okay, let's go to...
That was Bloodline with some Cody sprinkled.
Okay, let's go to Cody then.
Let's go to Cody. Okay. You have Money in the Bank coming up. You have the King of the Ring tournament coming up, right?
Yes. How does the King of the Ring usually go?
It hasn't been done in a while. Like it was, but then it wasn't.
Okay. So what is the King of the Ring?
It's basically just a tournament.
Okay.
But I'm hoping...
Like bracket style, just... Okay.
But I'm hoping that this time they change it to where it's a tournament with a world title opportunity at the end.
There's... Okay.
You have however many people in the tournament, but at least Cody is on one side and Seth Rollins is on the other.
Okay. Opposite sides of the bracket.
Yes.
Yeah.
However it ends up, Cody and Seth face off in the final match.
Okay.
This only works if King of the Ring happens before Money in the Bank.
Okay.
So, Cody and Seth face off in the finals, and Cody loses.
So Seth wins Money in the Bank.
Nope.
Or Seth wins King of the Ring. Sorry.
This leads to Seth having his title shot at SummerSlam.
Okay.
After King of the Ring, Cody wins Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm.
Seth at SummerSlam beats Roman for the titles. You have this feel-good moment where Seth just won the championships. Cody comes down and cashes in.
For one or both the titles?
Both.
Okay.
And Cody beats Seth for the titles.
Yeah.
So Seth held them for less than
5 minutes, whatever it is.
That leads up to next year's Mania, where you have Cody versus Seth for the titles.
Okay.
You can also do it the opposite way, which I think would have a little bit more impact. Like if Cody wins the titles at King of the Ring, and then wins the titles at SummerSlam and holds them for less than 5 minutes. Like he could be like, I realized my father's dream, but it
was brief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then he faces Seth at next year's
So
Ring.
both of these two dreams can coexist, to be clear.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, no, because I have
I
have Jay and Roman and Seth.
They can kind of intertwine.
Yes.
Elements can be taken from both.
Correct.
That's what I was
Now,
trying
would
to
you
get at.
like my super secret Mosca tool?
Yes.
This one will definitely never happen.
This is the Wyatt gets the job of writing everything for the WWE.
Everything for the world. You've John Moxley in AEW.
Sure.
He's Dean Ambrose.
Okay.
You have Seth Rollins chilling out in WWE.
You do.
Seth is kind of going towards this character that's kind of a psychopath.
A little bit, yeah.
Like he's always doing that laugh. He kind of like.
He's always
It
smiling.
seems like the fame is getting to him a little bit, like
Okay.
that kind of thing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You get two other characters. I don't care if you call them up from NXT. I don't care if you develop two new psychopath characters, whatever. But you need two, like, just batshit crazy motherfuckers.
Okay.
Seth faces them in a handicap match.
What is that?
2-on-1.
Okay.
And obviously loses.
Because it's 2-on-1.
Correct. So Seth loses a 2-on-1 handicap match. Let's say that's at Money in the Bank.
Sure.
That happens at Money in the Bank. Seth comes out the next night on Raw and says, I can't beat you. Not alone. I need another partner. Fast forward to SummerSlam. There's a tag team match between these two batshit crazy motherfuckers, Seth and a mystery partner.
Mystery Man.
Mystery Man. You get to the match. Everybody's in the ring except for Seth Rollins' Mystery Man. And he says, I didn't bring just anybody. I brought a brother. And Dean Ambrose music hits. And you bring back the Lunatic Fringe, Dean Ambrose.
Okay. And that's the Wyatt gets exactly what he wants.
Correct.
Do we know Dean Ambrose's contract state?
We know that last year during SummerSlam, he could have walked into SummerSlam as the AEW World Champion. Because Tony Khan isn't very good at running a wrestling company.
So, who knows?
Yeah.
Kind of where we're at?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's all I have on wrestling.
What's the next pay-per-view?
I believe Money in the Bank.
Are you sure it's not whatever the one in Puerto Rico is?
It definitely is. It's Backlash.
Okay.
There's Backlash. There's the Draft and King of the Ring, which might be pay-per-views, might be just things that happen.
Just at some point?
Yeah. There's Money in the Bank, and then SummerSlam.
I think draft just happens. Is what it sounds like.
It's plausible, but they might do it in a pay-per-view style. Or a premium live event style.
Gotcha.
I think you forgot about this because it's not very often that it happens anymore, but we do have a couple of things in college football. So I'm going to steal. Yeah, I'm going to steal us to go to those real quick.
Wow.
Because I knew if I didn't say it, you would have completely forgotten about them.
College football. We're scraping the barrel for college football every week.
There was a five-star tight end recruit flipped from Georgia to FSU.
And you were okay. And I was saying this is great. And you go, unless he gets redshirted. And I went, I don't think he's getting redshirted because I believe this is Jordan Travis's last year.
Is it?
At Florida
Hold
State.
on. Is this his possible last year, or is this his last year?
Possible last year.
Okay, so he's a junior
No, he's a senior, but I think that he can still play another year.
because of COVID and
Or whatever.
all that shit.
Whatever reasoning, he can play a 5th year.
Okay.
But yeah. My point is, I think they're going to make sure, because it feels like they have all of the tools. Like, they have so many good players. And just everything's coming together for this to be the year. So I think they're really just going to go all out this year to get another championship.
I hope they lose.
You think they go to the championship and lose?
Yes. Just so I can watch your dreams break.
Listen, first of all, I'm sure there's going to be a giant party at my house if Florida State is going to
The national championship.
Second
Make
of
sure
all,
I'm invited. I'll wear all blue and orange.
Second of all, I'm going to be on edge the whole game.
I might buy a jersey from whatever school they
They play against,
play against, just so that I can wear
even
it.
if it's like Alabama.
Yeah. I'll find a player that I think is okay from Alabama.
All right.
I mean, fuck it. I'll buy a Mac Jones Alabama jersey. And then the other thing we have, Purdue has the toughest schedule next season, according to whatever article I read that I can no longer find.
Probably AP.
Probably.
I think AP put out a big list.
So I want to know your thoughts. I'm going to go through the schedule. I want to know your thoughts on it.
Okay.
First game of the season, Fresno State. At Fresno State.
That's still a W for Purdue. Just, I hope that the rest of the schedule doesn't look like this.
In Indiana.
Okay. I don't think it matters. I think Penn State stomps.
Purdue?
Purdue stomps. Sorry.
Second game, Virginia Tech at Virginia Tech.
I mean, rougher, but
Okay. Versus Syracuse.
it's not bad.
Versus Wisconsin.
Not bad. So this is what it sounds like it's going to be. They're playing decent teams all year, whereas like Georgia plays 2 great teams and the rest are terrible teams.
Okay. Versus Illinois.
Again, mid.
At Iowa.
Mid.
Versus Ohio State.
That's a hard game.
Do
No
you
matter
think they
where
win
you
or
play
lose?
it,
Do you think they win or lose?
they lose. Ohio State, they lose.
In
Doesn't
Purdue?
matter.
Okay. At Nebraska.
That historically would be an easy game, but I think Nebraska's kind of getting their stuff together this year.
At Michigan.
That's a lose.
Versus Minnesota.
Mid.
At Northwestern.
They should win.
Versus Indiana.
It's a rivalry game. I don't usually try to call rivalry games because
Okay.
anything can happen.
Okay. So, yeah, that's their schedule. Do you think they have a tough schedule?
That's for who they are. Yes, I would say that's not an easy schedule.
Even with Drew Brees as their whatever coach?
Drew Brees is their coach. I don't think it matters. I mean,
I don't think he's their head coach, but
he's somewhere in the league or in the.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I don't. It's definitely not an easy schedule. So here's the thing. Usually we have these. There's a big spectrum of like, if you're one of the best teams, usually your schedule is like 3 hard schools and then however many cake schools with maybe a couple of mid cards in there. This sounds like one easy game and the rest are pretty. Like we actually have to do something. Like Fresno State feels like the only one on that list where they have to try, or they don't have to try. Sorry.
Okay.
Whereas like all of the really bad schools have really bad opponents because they're just in that kind of league, like the AAC, whatever.
Yeah.
And then on the opposite end, you have the really great schools who usually have
What is Purdue? Big 10?
0 clue.
Nope. Big 12?
That sounds correct. I think it's usually these middle of the road teams that have the hardest schedule. Like Purdue's not a bad school, but because of who they play, they look bad. So I think it's probably fair because I've looked over some of these and it's like usually the hard schedules is like.
Let me look at Georgia's, just for example.
Yeah, a lot of people say the hard schedules is like they play Georgia and Alabama, but then you look at the rest of the schedule, it's like these are high school teams, you know, like they play just so it's state.
Georgia plays versus UT Martin.
That's a high school team.
Versus Ball State.
I'll tell you whenever there's a team that matters.
Versus South Carolina.
That one.
Even in Georgia.
I mean, it's going to be easier. It's still a hard game. South Carolina's not a bad team.
Versus UAB.
That's a cake game.
At Auburn.
I mean, not as cake, but still not hard.
Versus Kentucky.
Same thing.
At Vanderbilt.
That's an easier game.
Open date.
Okay.
The world's largest outdoor cocktail party.
Always a fun game. I still think they're going to win.
Versus Missouri.
They're going to stomp Missouri.
Versus Ole Miss.
Same thing.
At Tennessee.
That's a hard game.
And at Georgia Tech.
It's a rivalry game. I still think they're going to
win. Georgia Tech's still almost a fucking high school team.
Yeah, Georgia Tech's... That's my point.
Hey, be less of a dumbass, please.
That's my point, though. That's the best team in the league, arguably.
Arguably.
And they have 2 hard games, and the rest they should just stomp through.
Florida's is at Utah.
It's not, it's not a hard game.
Versus McNeese.
That's a high school team.
Versus Tennessee.
That's a very hard game. I think y'all are going to lose that game.
Disagree. Versus Charlotte. At Kentucky. Versus Vanderbilt. At South Carolina. I definitely think we lose the at South Carolina one.
Yeah, South Carolina is a very good team.
Georgia, we lose.
Yes. I think you lose Tennessee, South Carolina, Georgia.
Versus Arkansas.
You can beat Arkansas.
At LSU.
That's a hard game.
That's a coin flip.
That's not a Georgia hard game. There's a chance you lose.
It depends on how LSU did this season.
And it depends on how Florida's feeling.
Especially this late in the season.
They always get better later in the season.
Yeah, but also, like, if they're not, then they're not.
If they're not healthy, then they're not good. Yeah. That's a coin toss game.
At Missouri, and then versus Florida State.
Florida State, that's going to be such a good game. Because we're going to stomp you.
If we're both financially stable.
We're going to go to that game.
Yeah.
I almost went to the game this year.
But you weren't financially stable?
But it was in Tallahassee, and I had a test.
Well, this one's in Gainesville. So, alright. That's, I think, unless you want to look at more schedules.
No.
Okay.
We've talked about Florida State's schedule enough where...
it's probably because Florida State sucks.
Florida State is a great team.
Wrong.
Okay. We can talk about... we have games?
We have games and we have movies. We have a lot of movies.
That's why I'm saying we're going to talk about games.
Okay. We have a question that you posed, a game I want to give an update on, a game I want to bitch about, and a game release announcement.
What do you want to update on?
Miles Morales.
Oh. Okay.
No, update on Hogwarts Legacy.
Bitch about is Miles Morales.
That.
Let's go with update on first then.
Okay. Update on Hogwarts Legacy.
Yes.
I am farther into the game, and I fucking love it.
Okay.
It's amazing.
It's
it is
still great?
everything I hoped, dreamed, and wanted in a Harry Potter game.
And it's still getting better?
Yes.
Okay. So, I'm further into Ragnarok now.
Okay.
I want to keep comparing it to the first game.
But you can't?
They're totally different. Like clearly, it's the same game. Like, it's very obvious that it's a very good continuation of the story, but it's so completely different at the same time. And it feels jarring that it's the same universe.
Where are you in the game?
They're getting the moon back.
Okay.
Like, I literally just beat the boss to grab the moon.
Okay.
That's where I'm at right now.
Okay.
Like,
I can't say a lot.
I know. The first game feels like it's like, hey, you're playing God of War and you're in Norse mythology. Like, Norse mythology is around you and there's like a sprinkle of it.
Yeah.
This feels like you're playing, like, you're thrown into it.
Well,
much heavier.
Okay. You finished the first game, right?
I platinumed the first game, yeah.
Okay. Then I'm going to say this. That's because in the first game, Kratos is still trying to leave his old life behind.
And this one,
by the time he's killed Baldur, it's over for him.
He's more Norse than Greek at this point. Like, or he's transitioned over better?
No. What I'm saying is he was the god killer in Sparta.
Yes.
When he met, the fuck is his wife's name?
Faye.
He left that life behind and had Atreus and moved to Norway?
The North. Norse.
Moved to somewhere up there.
Yeah.
He left that life behind. Throughout the first game, he battles with still leaving that life behind.
Athena and Zeus are constantly there. Okay, and in this game, it's
Once
all
he
about
gets
Norse.
once he gets the blade of once he gets the blades of chaos and kills Baldur, it's over. There's no leaving that life behind for him anymore. He's back to being the god killer.
So now it's just he's accepted it, but he is that now.
Yeah,
you're right because Athena, the ghost of Athena says, "You'll always be a monster." Yeah. He's like, "But I won't be anybody else's monster. I'm going to be my own monster." You're correct. That makes sense. It clicked. So he's still the god killer, but he's his own god killer.
Yes.
He hasn't killed any gods in this game yet, I don't think.
He's definitely fucked their days up, though.
He has a lot of them.
Also, it depends on how you define god. The thing that him and the Falcon Lady kill in the forest.
Nope. That was at the beginning of the game, and I don't know what you're talking about.
No, it definitely wasn't the beginning of the game.
You're talking about Freya? Yeah.
What's the fucking...
Oh, the thing that protects the roots?
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's not a god. I meant like an Aesir.
Okay.
He does mess up Thor's stomach quite a bit.
Yeah, he does fuck up several days along the way.
However, so I said that to say this. Because these games are so different, and because I haven't finished the second game, I can't say which one's better. Yet. My goal is once I platinum this game, if I can try to like put it in my brain as to which one is better. Because right now they're both very good.
Hogwarts Legacy is better.
And I can't. Let's bitch about Miles Morales first.
Okay. So we discussed, I don't know if we actually discussed it on the podcast or if it's on one of those episodes that's lost somewhere in the space-time continuum, but
yeah,
we decided that I was going to try to start platinuming games. As you do. Yeah.
Yes.
Because it's my life's goal to be better than you in every single possible fashion.
Yes. But I'm pretty great, so it's hard sometimes.
Well. Anyways, in order to platinum Miles Morales, you have to play through New Game Plus.
Which is different, because in the original Spider-Man...
There were extra trophies for New Game Plus.
Yeah, but you didn't need them for the platinum.
But it wasn't part of the platinum.
Yeah. Now it's get the platinum.
There's a trophy that is complete the game on New Game Plus. There's a trophy that is unlock all skills, which there are skills only unlocked in New Game Plus. There's a trophy that is get all suits. There's a suit that is only unlocked in New Game Plus. And this pisses me off, because New Game Plus is a fucking dumb-ass mechanic. It's just, hey, let's make the game harder and easier.
Let's make the bosses harder, but you already have everything unlocked, so it's easier.
Yeah. Dumb as hell.
That's rough.
That was my rant.
Fair enough. I understand that's bothersome. Okay, here's the thing. I understand why it's bothersome, because it's not... like, you have a perfect template for what the trophy should be, and you just changed it. However... when I platinumed that game, I definitely felt like I wanted to play it more, but didn't feel like there was anything left to do.
Then add more shit to the game. That's the correct answer, not
play the game again?
Yeah, don't make me play the game again. Give me more things to do.
Fair enough. Just not an online mode.
Correct. Or I also feel like there should be, for games that have an online mode, trophies for the online mode should be separate from the platinum.
I promise you, people have been saying this for a decade.
I know. But I'm here now.
You're here now and you want to complain about it?
Yes.
I agree. Because there are certain games that I want to go back and platinum because they're amazing, and then there's dumbass online trophies, like Black Flag, which requires you to be level 55 in online. The issue is, nobody plays Black Flag online anymore, because it's 15-year-old game. So, I sat in a queue the other day for 30 minutes and didn't get one game.
That's wild.
I know. I think it's Elden Ring. Has a trophy.
I'd rather kill myself than platinum Elden Ring.
One of the trophies for Elden Ring is being number 1 on the server.
Nope. I feel like that's actually not hard.
I feel like
if you play at the right times on the right servers, I feel like you could probably just get a server where it's either all dog shit players or there's nobody else on the server, and then by default you're number 1.
Sure, but that means you have to attempt to work that out.
Or just buy your own server.
I don't know if that works, I'm going to be real. But my point is, online trophies, I agree, are dumb and shouldn't be... I'm okay with certain online trophies. Like, if it's like, play an online match.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Or like, play a quick play match play, a competitive match.
Yeah, stuff like that. Or even
maybe even win one of those.
Yeah, or like get a kill.
Yeah.
Like something where it's like I can just grind time to do this, not I have to be good at the game.
Yeah.
And when I say grind time, I mean like play for like 2 hours to get a trophy, not play for 3 weeks of nothing but this online game that's dead and try to get an extra level. That's my point.
Does PlayStation weight their trophies?
What do you mean weight their trophies?
Like, you know how it tells you how much of a percent of a game you have done based on the trophies?
Yes, I think it does.
Does it weight?
I think it does.
Okay.
I know what you're saying now. I think it does.
Okay. Because I was looking at it and I was like...
I think a gold trophy is like more percent than a bronze or whatever.
Okay. Because I was looking at it and I was like, I'm about to finish the game and I'm only 47% done with the trophies.
Yeah.
And I did all the side shit along the way.
I think it's like all the golds are like extra.
And then that's why I looked at it and it was like, oh, complete the game on New Game Plus. And I said...
Or it's weighted on difficulty. And not difficulty as in the color of the trophy. I mean like the percentage of people that have done it before.
Okay.
I don't know how, but I think
I feel like that's not because you're
too much work.
Nope, because you're 99% before you get a platinum trophy.
Maybe. I don't know.
And I feel like it would be more than... Unless they just exclude the platinum trophy from the
I think they do exclude it from the percentage because it's only once you get 100% that it makes sense.
Okay. Those are my 2 things. We have... Let's go real quick. They're making a Harry Potter Quidditch game.
That's gonna be... This is probably the one sports game that I'm going to pay for.
It's not the one, but it's a sports game that I'm going to pay for.
I don't really love sports games.
I do.
I mean, like... Let me be clear. If I go to my friend's house and he's like, let's play Madden, I'll be like, sure. I'm not going to drop $60 on Madden.
I do it usually every 3 years.
That way you can have whatever... That way when you buy the new game, it actually feels like a new game.
Unless, like, if something... Number one, the exception is WWE.
I'm aware. You buy it every year.
Yeah. But that's more for the covers than it is for the gameplay.
Also, I feel like it's much different. Like I feel like the 2K WWE game is much different than most other sports games.
Correct. If Madden wanted to implement a showcase mode like WWE does, I'd buy the game every year. There would be something new to do.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I buy it every 3 years or when a big thing happens.
Gotcha.
So, like, I bought Madden 23. Before that, I was playing Madden 19. Because it doesn't really... Like...
It's football.
Yeah. I just played against Drew Brees instead of Jameis Winston. I didn't really care.
It didn't matter.
Yeah. Brady was still on the Patriots. Oh, no. You know what the first thing I do in Madden 23 is? Put Brady on the Patriots. No, I was playing... Madden 16 used to be my shit. And so I would play Madden 16. I would start up a new franchise. I would trade for Eli Manning as my backup quarterback, OBJ as my wide receiver 1, and J.J. Watt as my defensive end, and play as the Patriots. And it was over.
Makes sense.
But let me see if I can find some more information on this Harry Potter Quidditch game, because I saw Harry Potter Quidditch game being released, and that was it. Quidditch game. Harry Potter Quidditch Champions. Everything we know. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't know a lot.
I don't know most anything.
Okay. It's a competitive multiplayer game that has been in development for several years. Will be a standalone game. Can I scroll, please? Thank you. It is coming out for PC and unconfirmed consoles. Well, that's cool.
Good thing you have all the consoles.
Correct. It is from the same studio that is co-developing Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League.
That's a wild pick.
Wow. With Arkham series developer Rocksteady.
Okay.
Does not currently have a set release date. You'll be able to create your own competitors. Can be played solo or with friends. It will include broomstick adventures in addition to the titular sport.
Do you think it's be like Madden where you select what character you're playing as?
Yeah.
So,
or it might have a thing like Madden where you can like just play as the team. Like, you know how in Madden you snap the ball and you're the quarterback, you throw the ball and all of a sudden you're the receiver?
The thing is, there's two different things going, or there's three different things going on, 4-ish at the same time. Like, it's not different things.
Yeah, I guess.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like, do you just get to be like, oh, I want to be the keeper, the seeker, the blood?
You might have to.
You just jump around.
Plausibly. Also, it seems like J.K. Rowling is not directly involved with the creation, though it notes that she is hugely supportive and says she has final say of approval. So, like, if they fuck up, do you think there's going to actually be 700 fouls?
Probably. But they're probably going to say, oh, there's 700, and it's stuff you just can't do in the game.
That's probably accurate.
But
they
I'm
were
sure
all
they're
committed in one game.
In 1854?
I don't remember the year off the top of my head. I don't blame you for asking, because that definitely sounds like the type of thing that I would just remember.
Does. And I just spit out a year.
And then the last thing we have under games is PS Plus versus Xbox Game Pass. You don't have experience with Xbox Game Pass, correct?
No.
And you have limited experience with PS Plus?
I mean, the new PS Plus, yeah. I've had PS Plus prior to this for quite a while.
But
it's different.
Yeah.
I know.
And you have the lowest version of the current
Yes,
PS Plus?
but I have a comprehension of how it works.
Okay. I will let you give your opinion first then. However, I want to say in preface, I have the biggest version of PS Plus, games with gold, EA Play, and Game Pass.
So how about you just tell me what you think is the best?
The best,
Yes.
without a doubt, is Game Pass.
Why?
Because PS Plus it's the same thing, like PlayStation has the better exclusives,
Yeah.
but Game Pass has so many more games.
In the library?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's also PS Plus, the only Arkham game that I have been able to find is Arkham Origins. All of them are on Game Pass.
Gotcha.
It is very rare that a game in the middle of the series or only one game of the series is on Game Pass.
It's usually if they have one, they have all?
Yeah.
Gotcha. What are the other ones? EA Play and...
EA Play I bought because I love Battlefield.
That makes sense.
And it has all of the Battlefields on it.
What was the other one you said?
Games with Gold.
What's
It's
that?
like, you know how you get the monthly games with PS Plus? Like
Yes.
the version that you have?
Yes.
It's that for Xbox.
The essential version? Gotcha.
It's that for Xbox.
Okay.
But in general, my favorite is Game Pass.
I have little experience with all of this. I just want to hear what your opinion was, because a lot of people argue this. I just want to hear what you had to say.
Also, Sea of Thieves is the best exclusive.
That's a hot take. I'm going to disagree with you there.
What do you think it is?
Uncharted?
Wrong.
Uncharted 4 to be specific.
Wrong. Sea of Thieves.
God of War?
Wrong. Sea of Thieves.
Ratchet and Clank?
Wrong. Sea of Thieves.
Halo?
Wrong. Sea of Thieves.
Forza?
Wrong. Sea of Thieves.
Alright.
Does Destiny count as an exclusive?
Stop.
Okay.
Pokemon?
Wrong. Sea of Thieves.
Now I know you're just kidding.
Sea of Thieves is the best exclusive between PlayStation and Xbox.
There it is. Nintendo by far has the best exclusives.
Yeah, no shit. It's because all of their games since the Wii have been exclusives.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a single game that gets ported over to the Switch. Like, there's no Call of Duties on the Switch.
Yeah, there is.
Are there?
Yeah. Resident Evil's on the Switch.
That's wild. Why would you, like, Resident Evil 4?
Resident Evil Revelations.
That doesn't count.
And 2, but...
Oh, okay.
They definitely have, like, Call of Duty and Resident Evil. Like, they have those games that port over, but, like you said, why would you ever do that?
Correct.
I agree.
Pokemon is definitely the best exclusive of all time. Like, across the three.
That's why I said it.
Pokemon is the best across the board, which by proxy means it's the best for Nintendo.
Yeah, that is how that works.
Uncharted is the best for
PlayStation. I think God of War's up there.
Once there are more games in the God of War arsenal.
See, here's the thing. I don't know how Ragnarok ends, so I don't... Because throughout Ragnarok, they're like...
I promise you...
I know Kratos isn't going to die. Okay.
Also,
Pause.
even if Kratos did die,
I assume
the God
Atreus is
of War,
gonna...
the God of War name isn't going any.
Okay, this is what I assume, because the whole prophecy is... In the game is Kratos dies, Atreus still there. So, I don't want you to give me any sort of reaction because I don't want to know. I think one of them dies. I don't know which one. I really hope it's neither, but I definitely think one of them dies. And I think if it's Kratos, he just rips apart whatever area they're in. Like he just does to that place what he did to Greece. And or Kratos dies and Atreus becomes the new god of war. Like he takes his father's role and he just becomes a rage monster, and you play God of War as Atreus, which I really hope doesn't happen because that sounds like it would suck. That is that.
Okay. Once there are more games in the God of War arsenal, God of War might take the spot.
Okay.
Because they're not giving up the title God of War anytime soon.
No. It's a badass title.
Do you think they have the copyright on the 2018 game?
What do you mean they? Like
PlayStation?
Yes.
How can you copyright God of War?
I assume it's God of War mixed with like... How do I put this? Like, how you portray it, I guess?
I mean, yeah, but like...
Maybe not the phrase God of War.
Okay, because I was going to say, Ares is in Injustice.
I know. So I would say not God... Like, I don't think you can say God of War like that.
Okay, I guess you might be right. And then, for Xbox, as much as I love Sea of Thieves, it's definitely Halo.
Which Halo?
No.
No.
3?
3. That's fair.
Okay.
That was the one I was expecting you to say.
Okay.
That is the safe option, if it makes you feel better.
Halo Infinite is also up there.
It's funny how you always like this reasonable opinion and then this trash opinion.
Halo Infinite is definitely the one I wanted to give, but also have to give Halo 3 as the
probably the best.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just glad you didn't say Forza and or Gran Turismo.
I forget that Gran Turismo is an exclusive. It wouldn't take a lot of convincing for you to tell me that Forza is the best exclusive, by the way.
Listen, this is how much I don't like racing games. I don't know which one's which.
Forza's
Xbox?
Horizon, yes.
Okay.
Forza Horizon is one of the best racing games ever made.
Crazy.
Specifically Forza Horizon 2.
You know what my favorite racing game is?
MXATV.
Mario Kart.
Nerd. Alright, you ready for movies?
Yes, movies, and more movies.
We have several a thing to talk about here.
We do. There's even a video game movie to talk about here.
There's 2, actually.
Are there?
Yep.
Okay.
Because there's Mario, which you saw.
Which I saw.
And I haven't seen.
It is very good.
It sounds like you should give me your thoughts on it.
Do you care about any spoilers?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to be generic.
Okay.
The animation...
Movie about Mario?
It is a movie about Mario. Animation is great.
Okay.
Like, it feels... There's a certain point in animation where you want it to look fake but look real at the same time. Like, I don't want it to be too realistic. Like, I don't want to be too realistic where it looks like real life at sometimes because it's gross at some point. In my... Like, for me...
Buddy, that's a human-wide phenomenon. It's called the Uncanny Valley.
Yes, that. And I don't want Mario looking too real. But I also don't want him to look too terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the perfect balance, where it looks just correct.
Did you know that's how we got Toy Story?
What I just described?
Kind of. Do you know where Toy Story came from? You know the toy
Pixar?
repairman in Toy Story 2?
Yes.
There was a short that came out of him playing chess, and it was called Jerry's Game.
I love that short.
So, Pixar went and tried to make humans for this short. That was the first thing Pixar ever released. Or the first... Like, they had the Luxo Jr. and stuff,
Yeah.
but that was the first,
Thing, like full length.
Yeah, that Pixar released. And they tried to make humans, and they realized that the way they were making humans made them look plastic and fake.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody at Pixar said, hey, what if we make a movie about toys? All of our humans are supposed to look end up looking plastic and fake. Let's turn that into something we can use.
Yes.
And that's also why you don't see
Too
Andy,
much of Andy
and his mom,
Sid.
Their faces.
Yeah.
You see Sid, but...
He's meant to look weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see very, very minimal human faces.
Yeah. Until, Toy Story 2 and 3 where the technology is so much better that it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Mario.
Sorry.
You're good. I had to... You're correct. I
went off on one of my I know too much about things tangents.
Yes. So, it does a great job of telling a Mario story that is familiar and not a copy and paste of a video game story, if that makes sense.
Is Peach in another castle?
Peach is in her castle, which is modeled very particularly after the N64 game, which I loved. Like, it's not like this is just the first Mario game. This is your Mario Brothers. It's a new game. It's a new story that also is familiar.
Does Bowser get married on the moon?
No.
Oh. That's in Odyssey.
I know. I played Odyssey. And if Odyssey had trophies, I would have tried to 100% Odyssey.
That's wild. Did you get all the stars and shit?
No.
No. That definitely seems like the type of thing you would do.
If there were trophies, if there was a little digital picture that says I did it, I would.
Okay.
But there isn't.
Did we go over what our most played games are?
No. Let me finish.
We're definitely going to do that in a minute.
Okay. Anyway. Mario is like fan service, but not the bad way. Like, they clearly wanted to make a good movie and story and then added fan service on the side, which is what you're supposed to do, which is what I liked.
Okay.
I loved the movie. You should see it.
I really hope they don't do that with this next movie that I'm about to talk about.
Which is?
Five Nights at Freddy's.
What do you mean?
I want Five Nights at Freddy's to follow the story of the games or the books.
Okay. You want it to just be like a retelling of the game?
Or the books. I will be okay if it's the books. Or, if it has to be an original story, it needs to be the culmination of those two things and weave them together.
Okay, you don't want a brand new Five Nights at Freddy's story.
Correct. There's already too much lore surrounding this game.
For them to mess it up?
Yeah. The Silver Eyes did that all on its own.
What's the guy's name?
Scott Cawthon.
Is he, like, heavily involved in the movie?
He was, however, he kind of got pissed at the world at one point,
and he
so
just
I don't know if he still
right?
is.
Pulled a Dave Chappelle, if you will.
He released Five Nights at Freddy's 4.
Okay.
And everybody said, well, this ruins everything that we thought the game was about. And Scott said, I really don't give a damn, but you were all wrong.
Do you think Scott has, like, a journal of what's supposed to happen?
I think he definitely has ideas. I don't know if he has, like...
a concrete, like, this is the thing.
Yeah. And then he released Sister Location. Everybody was like, well, this ruins everything we thought. And Scott was like, I really don't give a damn. You were all wrong. And everybody was like, well, no, you're wrong. And he's like, motherfucker, what?
He's like, huh? You're gonna tell me I'm wrong? She came out in a bubble, dog.
He kind of just stopped talking to the world. So I don't know if he's... Like, that's why the movie got delayed so many times.
It's because he was just tired of it telling other people.
And it got dropped by Warner Brothers, but that's beside the point.
I can understand that. Like, could you imagine if you were telling a story and somebody goes, no, it happened this way. You're like, I'm telling you the story. What do you mean?
So yeah, I don't know if he's still involved with it, but he was at one point. And then...
Well, hopefully he has a heavy hand in the movie because I don't want them to, like you said, ruin it.
I agree. Tertiarily, we have the D&D movie, which we still haven't seen.
You haven't seen.
I know that there's a raven, and his name is Jarnathan.
I know there's an owlbear just in the movie.
Correct. I saw this TikTok and I was like, when you asked the DM questions that he didn't have a predisposed answer to, I was like, what is the high member of the council's name? Jarnathan. Fuck this. Plot out the window. This is all about Jarnathan now. And I can speak to that.
Yeah, it's happened.
Other than... What is the guy's name in... What's the main guy's name? The actor.
Chris Pine.
Chris Pine. He's the same guy that plays the dude in Wonder Woman, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's all. I just needed to make sure that my brain wasn't crossing wires there.
It was not crossing wires. Those wires are actually in order for once.
Okay. You want me to make your brain not happy? You know what comes out tonight?
Evil Dead Rise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to go see it tonight?
No. Not even a little bit.
You want to do it anyways?
No.
I think I might make you do it anyways.
I don't think it's going to work.
I promise you it will. I have an
I have
SUV and I
things to
know
do.
where to get burlap. What is your aversion to the Evil Dead Rise? Have you ever seen Shaun vs. Evil Dead?
No.
Well, that's its own problem.
Those movies are also very different.
I mean, yeah, but...
One of them is a comedy.
I mean, yeah, but... They're close enough.
Dead Rise.
Yeah. Evil Dead, by the way.
Whatever. Evil Dead.
The math wasn't
Dead
math there.
Rise.
Hey, speaking of Shaun versus the Evil Dead, zombie movies versus zombie TV. The Z question, if you will.
Yes, the Z question.
So, we wrote the show notes, and he had me write down a Z question. And I assume this was to not let me know what the Z question was.
Correct.
And then this morning, I text him, zombie movies versus zombie TV. That's for the podcast. It's just here so I can remember it. And he goes, that was the Z question.
That was the question I was going to ask.
So what brought you to this?
So I was thinking, we were talking about... Somebody we know watches Zombieland. We were talking about it. And I was thinking, like, zombie is... A lot of fictional creatures that people deal with in media have some semblance of, like, a fine line, like, this is what they're about. And then zombies are, like, kind of just throw things at the wall, and it'll work. Like, you can call it a zombie, and people will be like, sure.
Yeah, like World War Z.
Yeah, those are not zombies. But they are.
Zombies are slow.
Like, just what are considered zombies in media is such a variety of things.
Anything that was once dead or should be dead and is not dead.
And isn't a vampire.
Yeah.
Pretty much is what that is. Like, as long as it's not a ghost or a vampire, anything that was once dead
Or a
and is...
ghoul. Maybe a poltergeist.
Something you can touch. But that's my point, is, first of all, do you think it's easier to portray... Do you think it's been better portrayed in movies or TV shows?
Movies.
Or video games, for that matter?
Movies.
What movie?
I don't have a specific movie in mind. However, I have a specific TV show in mind
That messes it up? Is
Yeah.
it The Walking Dead?
Yes.
Okay.
Because a movie is a confined story.
Correct.
You have like a maximum of 3 hours to tell your story.
For a long movie, yeah.
Yeah. That's your story. Maybe you get a sequel, but there doesn't have to be. You can have one movie and it be just that. Or you can be like Zombieland and have a movie that's 10 years apart from its sequel.
That I'm still not upset about. I love both those movies.
I agree, but you understand my point.
Yes.
With series like The Walking Dead, and I hope it doesn't do this, but The Last of Us.
Mm-hmm. It definitely will, by the way.
Yeah, I know. The Walking Dead gets to a point where the zombies are secondary.
And it's other humans are the issue?
And it's the same fucking thing every season. Let's stay with these people that we found. Oh no, something happened with these people. We're on the run again. Let's stay with these people that we found. Oh no, something happened with these people. We're on the run again.
So is this your issue with television zombies or The Walking Dead?
Television zombies, because it's the same thing in a lot of television zombies. The fact that people don't want to end TV series.
And zombies don't last forever?
Not even that zombies don't last forever, just that there's a point where there's only so much you can do with zombies.
Yeah.
Before it's...
Either your main character dies or the zombies are no longer a problem.
Yeah.
Or it's just the same boring, repetitive, there's a zombie, there's a zombie, there's a zombie.
Correct. Within a movie, you have 3 hours to tell this story. That's it.
Either they live with the zombies are gone, or your main character dies. Those are your options, and you get a good story out of it.
And that's the end of it. Like, maybe you have a sequel eventually, but...
But when you have a 9-season show,
it's boring by season 4.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
What do you think the best zombies are in media?
I would say Resident Evil. Here's the issue with Resident Evil. They're all different. Every Resident Evil has a different quote-unquote zombie.
Okay.
Almost. And it's like a virus. It's all a virus, but like different.
The first 5 are all virus. Maybe 6.
First 6, by the way. And then 7 and 8 are their own.
Yeah.
When I'm talking about Resident Evil and I say zombies, I promise you I will never be talking about 7 and 8.
Okay. I was going to say, because Biohazard and Village are different.
They're people who are really messed up. They're cannibals, if that...
Biohazard is I think it's still the T virus. Is that what it's called?
Sure.
I think it's still the T virus.
That's what it's called in most of the games.
I think it's still the T virus, and it's like they got it from eating the people. And then Village is basically just a cult. Maybe they're zombies? I don't know. I haven't played Village.
I need to play all of them.
I don't.
Because they're so good.
I don't. I played Biohazard.
At least 7 and 8.
I completed Biohazard in a night.
Fair. My point is, the issue with Resident Evil, even though I love these games, they're all the same, but all extremely different. And it's kind of like, almost like it's not the same thing.
If I have to choose zombies from a Resident Evil game, it's going to be Resident Evil 2.
Yes. Raccoon City, 100%. That's
Okay.
the correct answer.
Okay. If I get to choose from outside a Resident Evil game, I think Left 4 Dead is probably up there. Left 4 Dead 2 to be specific.
Okay. I liked, what's that game called? Dead Rising? Where you're in the mall?
Yes.
Yeah, that.
I don't like that
Dead
game.
Rising 2, to be specific.
I don't like that game.
I love that game.
Sunset Paradise is a really fun game. Have you ever played that?
There are a lot of good zombie games.
I agree. Have you ever played Sunset Paradise?
No.
Okay, that's a really good game. You should play it. It might be zombies. It might be monsters.
That's the issue, right? Is it a zombie? Who knows? Anyway.
It's general things that want you dead. How's
Yeah.
that?
But here's what I like about the Dead Rising game. It makes, because there is a quote-unquote cure for the zombie virus.
Yes.
That only works if you're like within the first 36 hours of getting bit or whatever. But which means there's clearly a cure for the zombie virus, just hard stop. If you can cure it for a certain amount of time, then you can obviously cure it for a length amount of time just with more research. But in the beginning of the second game, you were playing a motocross, like, and you're just shredding through zombies, and there's protesters outside who are like, "Stop killing zombies, they're humans." And it's hilarious to me that it's like, they're not wrong, but we have like this idea of like zombies are just not humans when they 100% are. And if you can find a cure for it, they can just be humans again, for the most part.
You just said something that had me think something, and then I lost it.
Zombies are humans.
No.
Cure.
I might get back there. We'll see.
All right. What's next on the
I
list?
might find my way back. Nick Cage eats insects for Renfield.
Does he?
Yeah. And he says the world should try it too.
A lot of people around the world eat insects.
I love Nick Cage. I'm not eating insects.
I wasn't going to plan on it either. I do love Nick Cage, though.
Okay. Just making sure we're all on the same page. I don't understand how eating insects made him a better vampire either, but
I assume it was just a really cool scene that he did.
that is
Hopefully
a
it's in
plausibility.
the movie and we can enjoy it at least.
That is a damn fine plausibility. I'm not going to lie to you.
I feel like he would do most things to make a role better.
Correct. Other than that, do you want my philosophical question or my question that actually has an answer first?
The answer.
Okay. Do you think that anything will ever recreate what I have dubbed the Game of Thrones effect?
So your idea, the idea of the Game of Thrones effect is a piece of media in pop culture that has a significant portion of the population kind of
Paying attention to it, watching it, whatever.
Yes.
And has people questioning and theorizing about what comes next.
And my response to this was, I think it A has happened before Game of Thrones and B will happen again. The A is MASH. For those
I don't think it...
MASH was a war show back in the 70s?
Sure.
Well before we were alive.
Correct.
And it was massive. To the point where over 100 million people were watching the finale, which at the time was a third of America. I think, and I know you probably don't know too much about MASH, but there was a character.
About MASH.
There was a character who died, but they didn't really die, and that was a kind of a big thing.
But he came back.
Exactly, and so I think that MASH definitely rivals the idea. However, it's one of those things where it's like you're comparing a show that occurred in the 70s to one that occurred in the 2000s.
Also, there's a definite difference between MASH and a fantasy show with dragons.
Correct. And the internet plays a huge role.
Yeah. If you'd asked me this question 2 years ago-ish, I would have said yes.
The Harry Potter show?
The Harry Potter show.
Yes.
However, because of J.K. Rowling's recent comments,
Comments that have been going on for a while.
I'm going to say that it will no longer
Be that
reach
big.
that level of
You
popularity.
think the Percy Jackson show could be that big?
Not immediately.
You think it can gain a cult following? Like season 1 drops and it grows like exponentially, and then season 2 hype will be there?
I think that season 1 drops and people that know about Percy Jackson and know
Flock
about...
to the show. Greek mythology.
No, not Greek mythology. What is his name?
Rick Riordan?
Him.
This is not how you say his name. I'm so sorry to interrupt, but that was wrong.
That know about...
Rick Riordan?
There you go.
They know about Rick Riordan?
Will immediately watch that show, and then it will spread by word of mouth and, that little pesky thing called the internet.
Yes.
And eventually...
Could be the big.
Could be big, but I still think that it won't. I don't think anything will ever reach the level that Game of Thrones was.
I think something definitely will. But I think it'll have to be something that was is completely original and or comes from a book that already has a pretty big following. Which is why I think Percy Jackson
The Name
could
of the
be
Wind?
Huh? The Name of the Wind?
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Really? You
Really?
need to read The Name of the Wind.
What is that?
It's a book about the name of the wind.
Okay, sure.
It's a book... If you know the true name of something, you can control that thing.
Oh. Like Death Note almost? But like a little different?
Kind of.
Or that concept where you need to know the name.
Yes. By the way, the Game of Thrones finale had 13.6 million viewers in the United States.
That is a decent amount.
So, if anything reaches that level, I would say.
In the modern day?
Yeah. I would think that The Last of Us could be close.
Yeah.
How many people watched
But that's the thing about comparing it to MASH is that happened in the 70s when all there was television.
Yeah. The Last of Us had 4.7.
Gotcha.
And the only other one that I think might have come close... I need to learn how to spell. Nope, didn't even come remotely fucking close.
What?
Euphoria.
Oh.
There's a certain line where teenage girls just go fucking wild and make things have ridiculous numbers.
Yeah, like Twilight.
Correct. Twilight's a good movie, though.
I probably haven't seen it in about a decade.
Really? I was doing a Harry Potter quiz, and one of the questions was, what is
A werewolf or a vampire's name?
Nope. What is his name? Cedric.
Cedric
For
Diggory.
whatever reason, I was trying
What
to
is
think
the actor's name?
Nope. I was definitely trying to think of what's Cedric Diggory's name, but for whatever reason, my brain said Cedric Diggory is the actor, and I was looking for Robert Pattinson.
Yes.
Anyways,
I almost said Edward Pattinson because he plays Edward in Twilight.
the question was, what does Cedric Diggory do the first time we see him in the movies? And it was like jump out of a tree, cast a spell, this other thing, or sparkle in the sunlight.
That's funny.
Anyways, are you ready for my
Philosophical question?
philosophical question?
Sure.
Have sci-fi futures changed?
Okay. You can. I understand your question, but you can elaborate further.
Okay. If you look at like Back to the Future,
That was my That was gonna be my example off rip, by the way.
If
It was
you-
immediately gonna be Back to the Future.
if you look at like Back to the Future and other futuristic things that came out around that time, all futures are most futures are a utopian future.
Sure.
Dystopian futures are very few and far between.
In the 70s, 80s, unless it's specifically describing a
Yeah.
there's never a general future, and they're talking about a dystopia. It's usually
Yeah.
a more perfect society.
Correct.
Okay.
All hoverboards and
Flying
robots
cars.
and yeah.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you look at
Most futures
most
are dystopian.
futures are dystopian futures.
On the whole, I'd say probably correct.
Okay.
But okay, the first thing that popped in my mind when you said this, and we started talking about this, is Back to the Future's future, which is very they control the weather. There's flying cars. The fashion's different. And do you know the first thing that popped in my head when I started thinking about modern day future look? It was Multiverse of Madness in that one, which is almost exactly what Back to the Future's future is. They control the weather. The fashion's different. Technology's better.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to think about. I don't know if it's so much that. It feels like movies wouldn't have become this way if it weren't for the adult teen books. Hunger Games, Maze Runner, Divergent, I feel like boosted.
You want to trace that back one more, bud?
Hunger Games, Maze Runner, Divergent.
You want to go back? I mean, like, trace back where teen adult books came from.
Harry Potter?
No. 9/11.
Oh. Anyway, my point was, those books, Shoei, all have the dystopian future.
Yes.
And those clearly boomed in the early 2010s.
Yes.
And I think that made it to where putting a dystopian future was more common.
Okay.
Is my mind. And now people just want to be like, the world sucks. It's going to end in 10 years. So we're going to portray it.
Because, I mean, like, there's 1984 and The Giver.
I feel like those are different, though. Because when I think dystopian future now, I think, like...
Fallout?
Kind of. Fallout mixed with big bad government. Which...
I don't want to alarm you, but Fallout is because of big bad government.
I know. And it also has a big bad government after the fact. Or...
3 of them.
3 of them, yeah. Depending which Fallout game you're playing. But that's my point, is... I feel like it got popularized by these books, and now it's just like, yeah, we can just portray that the future's most likely just gonna suck. Which... I understand you want to have realism-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Like, clearly it's the future. Clearly you can't be exact about it. However, what I like about the 80s future is it's like, I understand things suck now, but hopefully we figure it out in the future. And that was the vibe in the 70s and 80s. And now it kind of feels like everybody's like, we give up. It's going to suck. And I don't love that, because that just feels like giving up.
By the way, on your Multiverse of Madness point, it only doesn't suck if you don't know that it sucks.
Correct.
Like, to the Illuminati, it still sucks.
Yeah, but it's not like a nuclear holocaust happened.
Sure.
They just killed Thanos on Titan. And then problems occur in the background.
Yeah. And whoever Black Bolt killed.
Doctor Strange.
I thought it was Doctor Strange, but for some reason my brain said, it's not Doctor Strange. He kills somebody else.
Doctor Strange kills Thanos, and then Black Bolt kills Doctor Strange.
Okay.
Obliterates Doctor Strange, to be clear.
Correct. Would you like to take a run through my most played games on Steam?
How about we do top 5?
Okay. We might have to go a little lower just because I know there's some in here that are...
Upsetting?
Mildly surprising.
Okay.
Do you want to get... I want you to give some guesses.
So,
what do you think number 1 is?
Knowing you, my first guess would be something like City Skylines.
City Skylines is... Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
15?
With 44.8 total hours.
Okay. That's still quite a bit. That's not at all what I thought you were going to be. I never thought City Skylines was going to be like a couple hundred.
Number 1 is Rainbow Six Siege with 844.9.
That's surprising, because you don't like Rainbow anymore.
There was a time where I did like Rainbow.
Let me rephrase.
Quite a bit.
There was never a time where I knew you super well personally and you liked Rainbow.
Yes.
Which means all of those hours occurred before me.
Correct. Number 2 is a pretty well-known game. A very well-known game.
Minecraft?
No. Minecraft doesn't show up on Steam.
Because it's its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty well-known game. Overwatch?
Nope. Also doesn't show up on Steam.
I don't know. I don't...
Grand Theft Auto 5.
That makes sense.
With 519.5.
So far these have been normal popular games?
2 AAA titles, yeah.
Yeah.
You ready to go off the fucking rails?
Yes.
House Flipper, 331 hours.
House Flipper?
Yeah.
Not Sims, not City Skylines,
House Flipper.
not Hoi 4.
House Flipper.
House Flipper.
331 hours.
Lovely.
Number 4 is Hearts of Iron 4, by the way, with 241 hours. Number 5 is Among Us, with 107.
I don't think I ever had Among Us on anything but my phone.
I had it on the computer.
I can tell. For quite a few hours.
Number 6 is American Truck Simulator, with 104.6 hours.
Not surprising and surprising at the same time. I'm not going to lie to you.
And only very shortly under that is Golf with Your Friends for 104.1 hours.
That's a valid game.
We're going to skip the next one for a minute. We'll come back to it. Next is Subnautica with 84.4.
Valid.
Left 4 Dead 2 with 84.4.
Valid.
Geometry Dash for 77.6.
You played... Pause. You played Geometry Dash on your computer
Yeah.
for almost 78 hours.
Yeah.
For over 3 days.
Yeah.
You
Not straight.
Still. That's sitting at a desk playing out. If you said that you play that on your phone, I would get it because you're just chilling, waiting for things. You chose to sit down, log in, and play that instead of any of the other games you've listed.
Well, the next one's Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy.
That's better.
For 53 hours.
That's a lot, but it's better.
The next is Portal 2 for 49.9.
Valid.
The next is Surviving Mars for 46.7.
What's that?
City Skylines on Mars.
Makes sense.
And the next one is City Skylines for 44.8.
Okay.
The one that we skipped
Yes.
is the 50 States quiz for 94.2 hours.
You spent almost 100 hours on the 50 states quiz.
Yeah.
Do you think you can tell me where all 50 states are?
It's not just that.
The flags?
It's shapes, flags, on a map, and mottos.
Can you tell me all the... Like, if I gave you a picture of a flag, could you just know?
Probably.
Is it because most of them have the name on them?
I mean, yes, but this also cuts that out.
Okay. The motto is what is actually impressive, by the way.
I don't know that I could do the motto off it.
Do you know Massachusetts motto?
I don't know any of them off the top of my head.
But if you saw them, you'd be like,
That one
goes
tell
with
you.
Florida.
Yeah.
That one goes with Kansas.
I might be able to tell you if I saw them.
Just because you had the quiz memorized?
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, I definitely do know one of them off the top of my head. New York State's is Excelsior.
Crazy.
Hold on. I'm gonna cut this out. We're gonna be back in a minute, but I'm gonna add up the total time of all of my games. All right. After some calculations,
Yes.
do you want to give me a guess? Give me a range, something.
Of how many hours you totally put into games on
Yes.
Steam?
Yes.
2,500. No, it's
Higher.
not that high. What? The top two are 800-ish, right?
The top one is a little over 800. The second one is a little over 500.
And it's over 2,500 hours?
Correct.
3,000.
3,031.5.
That's a lot of hours.
That's probably a little overestimated.
It's dark.
That's probably a little overestimated because once you get below 2 hours, it starts going by minutes. So I had to start guesstimating the point numbers of minutes. But
Still, it's
over
3,000
3,000
hours. Quite a few hours, if you will.
yeah. What do you think your number is?
See, that's the thing. I really wish I wish all consoles just had a better mechanic for running that.
No, the Switch definitely does.
It does, but I don't play Nintendo games that often.
Yeah, that's
When I
the
say
real problem.
most consoles, I mean PlayStation and maybe
I can
Xbox.
tell you what my most played game on a Switch is.
Is it a Pokemon?
It's
game?
Pokemon Sword.
Okay.
Without a doubt.
My most played game on PlayStation, other than probably Apex, because it's just the online game I go to, is probably Borderlands 2.
Mm-hmm.
And PlayStation does the wrap every year, which tells you, hey, you played this game for X amount of hours. It usually only gives you the top 5, and I have zero idea how to find that information outside of the wrap. So
It might be on the PlayStation website.
it could be. I don't know, because I don't want to put the effort in. It should be on the app, like the PlayStation app. I should be able to like hit my profile and be like hours played. I'm gonna make sure that that's not exactly what it does, and I don't sound like a fucking idiot.
That's a good idea. How to check playtime on PS4. Load and click on your PlayStation profile icon on PS4. Click on Games option, time spent under Games.
Really?
Yeah. So if I pause this and you give me that controller, I can add up my PS4 as well.
I don't. We'll worry about that later.
Anyways, it is apparently that easy.
Then we can cut this part out.
Also, hold on. PS Time Tracker. This is a website. It might just make me enter my PSN.
Do you know your PSN ID?
Yes. Okay, fuck me. See all player statistics. What do you think the most played game in April of 2023 has been? On PlayStation.
I had to process what the hell you just said to me. Hogwarts?
No.
The Last of
That's not a bad. Last of Us isn't a bad guess.
No.
What is it?
Fortnite.
It's upsetting, but not surprising.
Number 2 is FIFA 23.
Again, upsetting, not surprising.
Number 3 is Rainbow.
Sure.
4 is Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah.
5 is Apex Legends.
All of those games make sense and just aren't exciting about it.
Correct. Resident Evil 4 is at number 12.
Is it the only game that isn't just a continuous online game?
Yes.
That makes me happy then.
Well, Minecraft.
That
It applies the same conditions.
Yes.
That's why I didn't say it. It is the only game until 19 that is
what's 19?
Elden Ring.
Even then, that's almost the same.
Okay, 21 is Ragnarok.
That makes sense. I add to that number.
22 is Legacy.
Hogwarts Legacy?
Yeah, I add to that number. Were you correct that it is not just tap the button?
No. I mean, at least it's not super obvious.
All
I
right.
also got kicked out of my PlayStation app trying to find out.
Well, then we will end this episode here, and maybe next week I'll get the numbers on
PlayStation?
Overwatch, PlayStation, and if I can find them, Xbox.
Fair enough.
And we will get a grand total from
And Twitch?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll get a grand total of the number of hours I've spent.
I'll try to find something.
Good job.
All right.
Proud of you. Join us for Season 2 next week.
Yes. Bye-bye.